What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show. Today, welcome to the show, a woman who has a doctorate in chiropractor, bachelor's degree in nutrient, and published author, Dr. Lynn Carey. How you doing today, Lynn?
I'm doing great, CJ. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I appreciate it. So before we get started, can you just explain to us and tell us what inspired you to become a chiropractor?
Yeah, I really believe it was a divine calling because when I was a teenager, I ended up having spinal surgery for scoliosis, and it left me sick and in pain for years that the medical world didn't know how to help me. Every time I went to a doctor, I kept asking, why do I keep getting sick? Why do I keep having pain? And they just kept writing me another prescription, and it didn't help. Nothing helped. So I just thought I was going to have to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was in college, just trying to find myself, because I was programmed to got to go to college to be successful, I was in there not knowing what to do with my life. And someone told me to look into chiropractic as a profession. I didn't know what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
just read the pamphlet, and part of the philosophy of chiropractic healing was acknowledging that the power that made the body heals the body. And
Mm.
I thought, how come no one has ever said that to me all this time? So I looked into it, and it just sounded amazing, and something told me to just go. I just went to chiropractic school. I didn't even get adjusted until I got there. But the rest is history. It completely changed my life.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been doing it?
Well, I graduated in 1997. So
Oh, long time, long time. Huh? We don't want to know your age.
yeah.
So tell us, what is the homeschooling process like?
From homeschooling my son.
Yes.
It was something that in the chiropractic world, everything is natural. And I heard I had other students that were there that were raised by chiropractors, right? Their parents were already chiropractors. So they were in a natural world, and they just didn't like our school system, and they were homeschooled. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, because I hated school. And, and then when I got out, I knew there was a lot of things that they didn't teach me about becoming financially free, just a lot of life skills, things like that that were missing from our system. So I just knew I wanted something different for my son. So I just decided to figure it out as I went along. And he'll be 18 in June.
Wow.
And it really is not that complicated. You can kind of do anything that you want. People think you have to have all these things to grow up, but you don't. You can kind of learn what you want. And I always wanted to teach him things that were practical for the world. Number one, becoming financially free.
Okay. So you homeschooled them from, kindergarten on up?
I did. And it was cool. I always gave him the choice, because I said, if you want to go to regular school, because he would see his friends from the neighborhood go to school, you can go. I always just that's the thing I think about what truly is parenting, homeschooling, in my opinion, is to let the person know they have a voice, their opinion matters, their perspective matters, make them think for themselves, So I always gave him choices. And I said, if you want to go to school, you can. And so he shadowed, I remember in third grade, he went to school just for the day to see how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out and I love it. And I was like, oh my God, like I didn't expect him to love it, because I didn't like being in there all day.
Uh-huh.
And I was a good student, honor roll, A's, like I worked my butt off. I worried all the time. So he ended up going to school for third grade. He had an amazing experience, but he wasn't up to par on reading. Like I wouldn't push him to be on certain levels when we would do our work, because I just thought, let things come naturally. He doesn't have to follow what they consider normal. I didn't want him to hate reading.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing, like he didn't know how to read, and he was going into third grade. So I thought, for the teacher conference, I'm going to hear it. Like I was waiting for, the reprimand that look what you're doing to your kid.
Yeah.
And instead, I got, what are you doing with your son? Because we wish other students were like him. He loves to learn. He has the bigger picture. He asks all these questions. And the reading part's no big deal. We can catch him up to speed, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, amazing. So it kind of gave me confirmation that, yeah, I think we're on the right track.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool. So, do he have a major or anything that he's going off to school to do?
No, he's not in school now. That he only went for like a year and a half. Then we went back to homeschool. He is learning trading right now on an
Oh,
online course. So that's what he's doing right now.
okay, that's cool. So, can you tell us a little bit about your book, My Journey to Grace?
Yeah, so I always thought that maybe I would share my story because I've done a lot of things after learning to heal myself and becoming a chiropractor. I questioned a lot of the mainstream systems with money, with education, with relationships, just everything. And I found a lot of answers to other things. So I was figuring out business um, and doing my entrepreneurial adventures. And I always thought maybe down the road I would write a book about my story. But 4 years ago, when we had lockdowns, I knew something wasn't right. I knew how health works, and I knew it just didn't all add up what they were telling us. And I was really upset with the fear that people were living in at the time that wasn't doing them any good to live in that kind of fear. And I thought, well, maybe this is the time to share my healing story. Because I thought if people felt empowered about their health the way I do, it would help change things. So I just decided to write my story about healing. That's what it is. It's just my own personal healing story and finding grace. I had an awakening experience of really tapping into higher vibrations that I believe are here for us, but society keeps us in such a fear frequency, but the healing frequency really is in the higher love, happiness, inspiration, vibration. And I share that experience in my book.
Yeah, you said something about where you give where the things that you went through with your personal health, it helped you and it gave you insight to help others. Can you explain that a little bit to us?
Yeah, I think I became a really good chiropractor because of my own pain and struggle that I went through. I really believe I saw a difference in my perception and understanding and knowing versus maybe other colleagues or people who went to school with me. I saw we both got the same degree, but what was our level of experience and skill and knowing, right, when we got out? And I really believe because of all the struggle I went through with my back and my
Mhm.
immune system, because I walked the walk, I
Yeah.
had the confidence. When someone came into me with pain, I didn't feel fear for them. Like I understood what they were going through. I had more compassion
Hmm.
and I had the confidence to tell them that you're going to get through this, that the pain is okay. You can walk through this. It's part of the healing. So I lost a lot of the fear that comes from dis-ease and all the health stuff because of my own journey.
Oh, okay. So I see what you said now, that because you can be in touch with how somebody feels and the compassion that you have, it makes you even want to go even harder to help them because you knew the things that you went through yourself. So, I mean, I
Yep.
guess that's just like, education and things of that nature too. You have to really care.
You do. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think everything, people should be in it for the right reasons. I always want to make a difference for people. I've always wanted to find a better way. It's my natural instinct. If
Mhm.
I know something, it's like, how can you not share with somebody else if there's a better way?
Yeah, yeah. Like and like you say, because a lot of times when we figure out stuff and we get things of our own, we like to keep it to ourselves without sharing. So so I appreciate that. So on top of that, you have a mentorship program entitled Healthy Habits. Can you explain a little bit about that to us?
Yeah. So I think one of the ways that you really can take control of your health and your healing. I can adjust you all day long, but it's really, I believe, the inner work that you need to do on yourself and on your life to take control of your health and your well being. So I just help people create healthy habits with the products they use, the nutrition that they put in their body, and really getting in touch with their mental stress level and their mindset and how they're thinking about what they're doing with their health, with their life, with different things that because it's all interconnected. I really believe the stress level that you live in your life is really what dictates how you feel and the wellness that you're going to experience. So I just
Uh,
help people get, connect some dots in their own life to be become more in tune, to become their own best doctor, to kind of play detective on what's causing the stress in their life, and creating maybe the symptoms or things that they don't want in their body, and change it to what they do want.
Okay. So like in the program, you speak of things, certain things that you should eat, certain things that you should drink. Okay, so let me ask you a question, because I'm an energy drinker person. I love Rippets. Should I take that out of my equation?
What do you love?
Rippets, the energy drink Rippets.
Okay, I never heard of that one.
No.
My whole thing is that you really should be aware of how chemicalized is the product. You know, are you drinking chemicals all day long, or are you just drinking things that are natural? And that's your body is going to respond better to the natural things. It's not that you have to do it all the time, but it should be more frequent than not, where you put more natural things in your body.
So do that go with also the food? So should we be eating more organic? Your opinion, your opinion. Organic foods, or is fried foods okay, or should we take that out of our diets?
I think you should. I think you should detox until you get really in tune with what you want. If if you feel good, if you're in perfect health, I don't know how you're judging what your health is.
Mm.
How are you judging what your health is? You feel good every day. If you don't, then it's one aspect is to look at what are you putting in your body. Do I think you should be strict all the time? No, because I think that's just as harmful, because I think that causes just as much stress. You should enjoy what you're eating, but you also should get to the place where you can feel your natural rhythm. For instance, I feel like I'm guided moment to moment to what my body needs. Sometimes it's a heavier meal. Sometimes I'm craving more vegetables. Sometimes I'm craving more water or fluid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because I'm pretty detox. I don't feel like I don't have a lot of toxic buildup. So I'm pretty clear, and I'm in tune with my body's natural cravings. Will I have dessert? Yeah, but I don't overeat. I eat when I'm full. I mean, I eat till I'm full, like I stop. There's a lot of factors. It's not just what you're putting in, because I see people trying to cut things out, and then they go even like they're drinking diet drinks, and I'm like, they're full of chemicals. They're not even healthy. So I think people are very misguided on what is considered health. I like to bring people back to more of a natural way of doing things.
Okay. So my last question on this. So it's like being overweight sometimes. Does that cause a problem with your back issues? Because I know I have back issues at times, and it's been said that you go get on the scale and everything and say obese. And so I just want to know, is that probably part of my problem, the lingering problems that I have, because with back pain, they come and go. And so you go to the chiropractor, you get it popped, get it cracked, go 3-4 times, and then you feeling fine. And then later on down the line, that issue reoccurs itself. So could it be overweight at times that causes certain issues?
Yeah, I mean, for some people it could be, and others it may not be. More likely, yeah, if you have more weight on your body than is probably healthy for your structure, it's going to cause stress. But also, there's going to be factors in your physical motion, how you move your body, the stress level that you feel, because you can store emotions in your back. Like, I know low back, sometimes when it goes out, it can be related to money issues. It can be related to relationship issues. So, you could take two people who are obese. They're both obese. One may have back pain, one may not. Why is it different for each person? It depends on, also, the obesity may be causing something, but there's also, I'm sure, emotional connections there from stressful situations that manifest as pain. That's why it comes and goes.
That's one I never heard of before. I guess that's why we got the good doctor on today. Back issues can actually be caused from stress about money issues or relationship issues. I guess I do know why my back hurt a lot. That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah, well, and that's why you see that a lot of times that's why does it come and go? Why is sometimes it's worse than others? Like, so that's why I have people like journal, pay attention to when you feel things, when you're symptomatic, when you're not, because you start connecting the dots in your life. Your body's speaking to you for a reason. It
Mm.
could be just that you're overweight. It could be you have too many toxins in your diet. It could be money. It could be relationships. So that's why you have to kind of pay attention to the whole picture of your life. It's hard to compartmentalize because everything affects everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's one to grow on right there. So I'm gonna put that one in my memory bank. So speaking of that, now this is a subject that a lot of people we kind of miss and that we don't like to touch on. So tell us a little bit about your spiritual growth journey.
We'll be right back.
Don't miss out on CJ Moneyway's book, Both Eyes Open and Both Eyes Shut. And get ready to pre-order his upcoming release, The Issues of Life, coming soon. Moneyway, aiming to inspire.
Well, I guess the more I got in tune with my body, when you get adjusted, for instance, we're working with energy. I mean, when I first got adjusted, it was very physical. I just wanted to hear the bone crack. I just wanted to feel the adjustment. I wanted to be better right after I felt it, even though that wasn't my experience. I actually had more pain. It was a process, this whole thing. Because the healing isn't usually a quick fix. It's usually a journey of untangling energetic patterns in the body. The more I worked on people, I realized we're all energy, so the more you get in tune with your body, the more sometimes you have to feel. And a lot of times we don't want to feel things. We're afraid of certain emotions. We're afraid of maybe stuck trauma from childhood stuff, things that we don't want to touch on. But actually, if we let all that come up, it can release and your vibration is higher. So, I would say what actually is doing the healing in the body? It's the life force. There's a life force running your body. All our organs are working right now as we sit here and talk. We're not consciously controlling. Can you imagine if we had to make sure our heart was beating and our lungs were breathing as we're having this conversation? We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we take that for granted. So it's like your body is always making itself new. So it's really an energetic experience. And the clearer you are, I believe your vibration goes into a higher frequency. And I believe that's we get connected to our spirituality, who we are as a person, our source. We are a higher being, we're a spiritual being having a human experience. So you start to feel more. And the more stuff you clear, the more stress that you clear, the layers of stuff that are suppressed or trauma, whatever, when that clears, you just feel happier, lighter, right? More energized.
Mm.
That to me that's what happened to me. I just had my awakening. I had a spiritual experience. And I realized we can have life from this higher place of really being blissed out. That's normal. I think that's why people drink. That's why people take drugs, because you feel a lift in your spirit, right? But it's not natural because then you crash. And a lot of times you get stuck. You're dependent on the drug or the alcohol. It creates a depression after. Because really we have that natural state within us. So the clearer you are, you can really start living your life from those higher vibrations, and life starts to get really good.
Yeah.
And you can start to create whatever you want in your life with your intention, with a clearer focus, with a clearer intention, a new perspective. I really believe that is our natural state.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you, especially when you talk about the habits that people begin to take as far as drinking and drugs, because at the end of the day, once you get done with all that, the issue that you still had still gonna be there. It's not like it went away. And so one of the things is, and I appreciate that too, is that being in touch with your spiritual side, your spiritual being, and know that it's something greater than we are. Because as you said, if it wasn't, me and you wouldn't be able to be sitting here talking to one another. And we and we know that one day you won't be able to talk to somebody, and it won't be because of your own will. So I agree with you on that note. So what was it that was eye-opening to you that first happened to you when you first opened up your practice?
I realized that no one had taught me anything about money or business. I was kind of ignorance on fire. I'm going to open up my practice because I wanted to practice on principle. I didn't want to put more fear into people that they had to come see me all the time. I didn't want to do insurance because I didn't like what they wanted to dictate how I practiced. They wanted me to fix people. They wanted to turn me into a medical model. It was about wellness. I knew how I healed. It wasn't a quick fix. I'm not trying to cure anybody or fix symptoms. So I really wanted to practice on principle. And so I just realized, I'm like, oh, now I have to get people here in my practice. And I'm like, now they're going to think I'm telling them to come to me because I have to make money. Like, that just didn't feel good, you know? And then I thought about, well, how many people do I have to adjust to just pay the rent in my office or, you know, all my other life expenses? And I thought, this is crazy. No wonder people do things for money that aren't right, even compromising their principles. So I started reading. I figured I had to start to teach myself about money. And I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Are you familiar with that book?
That's one of the most popular books out right now. You know, you see that everywhere, the programs, the books, and a lot of people say it changed their lives.
Yeah, I mean, the way chiropractic changed the way I viewed health is the way that book, I forever changed the way I looked at money. And I realized that we have to not just be trading time for money. We have to start to learn to build multiple streams of income and asset wealth and understand economics and understand that for me, it was important because I realized money was kind of dictating all the choices I made in life. Mm-hmm. And I also realized that's what was happening to people that I was seeing. What was one of the most stressful things that they dealt with? Money. You know, they went to a job every day, whether they liked it or not, to pay their bills. It dictated how they took care of their health. It dictated how the choices of food they ate, whether they could afford organic or not, whether they could afford holistic treatments or not, if insurance didn't pay. It dictated how much time they had to spend with their kids. Like, it's important. But yet a lot of people never took the time to learn or to get themselves out of what he calls the rat race. But I realized that was a big part of our well-being.
That makes a lot of sense, especially because money, it dictates a lot of things that you do. Like you say, sometimes you wake up and go to a job that you really don't want to go to, but because you got to pay the bills, because you got to put food on the table, it dictates what you have to do. I never forget when I was younger, my father, I never forget him telling me, he said, go to school and get you an education so you can have a career, you know, like yourself, have a career that you wake up every day and enjoy going to do, instead of having to have a job that you still got to wake up every day and go to that you don't want to. So that always stuck with me when he told me that. When you said that, it's kind of reminiscent to
I really think our spirit's here to be happy. If you can find something that you like to do, even better yet, if you can create up multiple streams of income where you can do what you want every day because you're free to do it, that's, I think, true living. I really believe that, because, you know, people don't want to connect the dots. But I'm like, if you're going to a job that you hate every day and you don't have a plan B to get out, guess what? Eventually, your body's probably going to break down because you're not listening. You know, like all that stress energy, all that suppressed energy, all that dread every day, your body stores it. So eventually it can come out as dis-ease in the body.
And, you know, I agree with you too on that note, because like one thing that I always say is that we always talking about how we want to make $1 million. That was the big thing then. And we talk, I want $1 million. But what are you actually doing to try to get $1 million? Yeah, that's the big question. We all wish that we was wealthy and had all the money that we can have, and like you say, live accordingly to the way that we want to, and this and that. But what are you doing to get to that point? If I'm not doing nothing to try to get that extra, that stream of income that I'm dreaming about, then it's mute conversation, really.
Yeah. And you know, the other part that I've learned, and this is for my own journey of trying to get myself straight financially, right? What happens is the journey towards the $1 million is actually just as important or more important than having the $1 million, because you have to uncover all those limiting beliefs of lack, poverty consciousness, all those things that you hold yourself back, that we were probably raised in the culture or your family or whatever. that is really diseased energy in the body. We are abundant beings, but you have to, somebody can just throw $1 million in your lap.
Mhm.
But if you haven't done the work in order to hold that $1 million, you know what I'm saying? To hold the energy space of that $1 million,
Yeah.
it can cause just as much stress. So I
Mhm.
believe the journey of creating the financial freedom is working to become financially free in the mind, you know?
And yeah, boy, I guess we probably go on this forever and ever because I understand what you're saying on that. Because a lot of times when things are given to you and you haven't worked for it, you don't understand the trials and tribulations of certain things in life. Like you say, the journey. There's some things when you striving for that pride, for that chiropractic doctorate, and you're going to school. It's going to be some ups and downs. It's going to be
Right.
some trials that you go through, some days that you want to give up, but it's that inner, like you said, that inner being, that inner energy that keeps you moving forward, and it makes you appreciate things better when you go through the journey.
It's who you become in the journey is everything.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that. And so let's get off of that because we can stay on that one all day. So tell me, what do you recommend that a person start off from to start their healing journey?
Yeah, I think one of the easiest things you can do is become aware of what you want.
Mhm.
So I think putting pen to paper is really important. I believe that is something very healing that happens for your brain when you actually put pen to paper. I know we're so technology focused today. We put stuff on our phone, but if you actually get pen and paper and write, the writing is stirs up a creative process also. It's very healing. And just start asking yourself, am I living my desired life? Like, is everything in my life the way I want it to be? And if it's not, what would you change? Or what do you want your life to look like? And if that's too big for some people to answer, I think the only reason it may be too big for somebody to answer is because a lot of people don't believe that they can actually have what they want, right? What they dream is their ideal life, if they think it's too good to be true. But you have to acknowledge what you want because eventually, I believe what happens is you start getting signs to how to get there.
Mhm.
Little pieces show up. You can write down inspiration. If you don't know what you want your life to look like yet, you can start. Another great place to start is just making a gratitude list. What are the blessings in your life now? Things that you're grateful for each day. Start with a list of 5. I used to do start with 5 things, and my list grew to like 25 things a day. And I realized it shifted my focus from looking at what was wrong with my life to what was right. And the more you start looking at what is right, the more you start attracting pieces into your life that make it more right, more opportunities, the best people, things show up that you need, information that you need shows up, the book, the podcast, the person, whatever, the message you need will find you. And you start getting answers. You start creating a picture. And one thing leads to another. And that's really how you start creating your best life. So the journaling is everything. It's just writing down ideas, writing down gratitude, things that you appreciate, um, things that you think were remarkable that happened in the day. They become more common. That becomes your norm. And
Yeah.
I think that's how we build a desired life.
And I believe that too, because we say with the spiritual being, I know somewhere it says that write the vision down plain so that they who see it, so you have to write that vision down, write that thing down. I remember I was told once before to start writing things down, as you said, like things that I may wish for and hoping for that wasn't going to come at that moment, but put it in my wallet, and then once things start checking off, be like, wow, it was 4 years later, but I got that car that I wanted. Or I never forget, me and my wife, we were staying in a condo. And so I had wrote on the wall, I wrote on the, like little sticky notes or whatever. So I wrote on the sticky note, the vision and what I was, Lord, expand our territory. And I think that it stayed on there for like 7, 8 years. And eventually he expanded our territory. So it's the things that you put out there in the atmosphere, and these are the things that you're striving for. And then once it happened, like you say, it's like, these are the things that I'm grateful for, because I know that he will answer your prayer. It don't come when you may want it, because it's a journey, and you have to, a lot of things is a test, a fortitude to see how far you will go. Because if I can't be faithful over a little things, how can I be faithful over a lot? And so I
mean, who you need to become. We don't always understand the end result yet, right? But it's who we need to become. We don't see the things holding us back. Otherwise, obviously, there would be there'd be no journey. I mean, that's why we're here in life. We're here to learn to create our heaven on earth. I really believe that.
Yeah, I believe you too. And so my last question I'm gonna ask you on this. So what are the biggest obstacles? If we just talked about the beginning of your healing journey, so what are the biggest obstacles on starting your self-healing journey?
I think it's our fear, our belief system. What are our beliefs? Do we have more belief in something outside of us that's hurting us, or do we have faith in the healing power within the body? You know, I mean, we're tested. You're tested when you have any kind of health crisis, disease. It's an opportunity for awakening. Financial crisis, relationship crisis, any kind of challenge that comes in our life, it really can be your biggest blessing. I mean, that's what I look at, how my health journey was. It's my biggest blessing, because I'm so free now, health-wise. There's not anything that can scare me. But I went through it. You know, I went through it, and it was years. So anything that you're challenged by today, it's overcoming the fear, turning it into faith, turning it into something better, turning it into an awakening to become better, to become a better person, to become empowered. It comes down to all of that. That's what I believe. It comes down to your faith and your fears and your beliefs.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. You said something when you said, you know, the relationships, and when you go through sickness and health, and that fear just creep in, and so you let that be your obstacle that you can't get past because of the fear. So I totally agree with you on that. So are there any projects that you're working on right now that we can look forward to in the near future?
Well, I have a website. It's creatingmydesiredlife.com. And you can go on there and ask me a question. You can get on my emailing list, or you can find my book there. It's called My Journey to Grace.
Okay. So is that all your social media outlets that we can reach you on? What about Facebook?
Yeah, it's Dr. Lynn Carey. YouTube and Instagram, Dr. Lynn Carey.
Okay, well, you're going to have a new follower after we get off this show today, and me. And so
Awesome.
I thank you for coming on the show today. And so I wish you great success in your practices. I wish your son success in the trades that he's trying to do. And so I just thank you for coming on today.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you, CJ.
Okay. Hey, you have been listening to the CJ Moneyway Show with Dr. Lynn Carey. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Peace. We out. Hey, hold on one second, Lynn, Doctor.
Thank you for listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends, leave a comment, and drop a review. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Friday for more inspiring journeys. Who knows? Your story might be next. Thank you for listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends, leave a comment, and drop a review. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Friday for more inspiring journeys. Who knows? Your story might be next.